Hello, welcome to my review of Star Trek Discovery, Episode 6, Lethe. I didn't do a reaction to the last couple of episodes, primarily because I was busy, just had other stuff going on, but I wasn't too impressed with them. I'm not too impressed with this episode either. I actually have some problems with it, and this is going to be mostly complaining. I think that's what a review of STD is gonna amount to these days. So one of the first things I noticed in this episode was that Tilly inadvertently told Michael that she doesn't have a personality. Like, the writers made one of their characters say this to another character. Like, I don't get the cognitive distance that, as a writer, you can write that in as a little joke, and then not like, wait, shit. We didn't give this main character any personality. We shouldn't be able to joke about this. Like, how? and on that, some of the characters were so inconsistent with what we've seen of them in previous episodes. It was just strange. Tilly was all of a sudden confident, which we don't get a real reason why, except maybe because she's been training with Burnham. She goes like, "Oh, this guy's so hot," and talking about Ash, the new guy, which there's a bunch of theories about, but I don't care, which is sad. But she's talking about how hot he is, and how cool he is, and then she goes and introduces her and Burnham to him, just all confidently, you barely could hold a conversation in the last few episodes. Why can you now go up to some guy you think is hot and nonchalantly introduce yourself? That doesn't seem in character. The science guy, the spore drive guy, he was being really weird. That might be because of the spore drive or because of the mirror universe or something, but man, he was being weird. It was like he was hopped up on caffeine or crack or something, which maybe his mirror universe self is a crackhead. Could be. That'd be weird if his mirror universe version wasn't gay. And the gay was like, "I'm gay here? What the hell?" That'd be interesting. Like, apparently, mirror universes, you're on the tipping edge, or, I don't know. Or it'd probably be funnier if it was the other way around, straight guy going across. Which depends on your perspective, actually, on which universe is the real one. But some of the other problems I have with this episode, the captain and Ash are in a holodeck. They try to pretend like it's not a holodeck for a couple of seconds. And immediately I knew it was a holodeck, and I was like, just stop this as soon as possible, because it's irritating me that you have a holodeck when you shouldn't. You're like 50, 60 years at least. I forget how long it is. It might even be 100. I forget the gap between the original series and TNG, but that's a huge gap that you shouldn't be able to, just, "Oh yeah, we have holodecks, like 100 years early." Like, that doesn't work. Come on. That's an easy one. Yeah, holodecks are cool. That's why you don't make a series as a prequel in the era where the technology wasn't as cool. Just go in the future and you can do whatever you want with the technology. Then the spore drive makes sense, But someone said in one of the comments that they can't make a Star Trek series set past Voyager because of some legal rights issue. I don't really understand why. I don't understand why you wouldn't try to resolve that issue and then make a Star Trek. Because if you did resolve that issue, you could actually make a successful Star Trek. We saw with Star Trek Enterprise, they did a prequel. It wasn't really successful. That might have been timing, but still, it wasn't successful. It was pretty good too. It was better than this, much better. I mean, the production wasn't as high budget, but it was better than this. It had likable characters. And then we have this whole mind meld thing, Chandra thing, where they're trying to find Sarek. I don't know why they have to connect the Vulcans so strongly with every series they try to do now. You don't need to. And then even furthermore, Sarek has to be in it. Like, Sarek is not the connective glue of Star Trek. You don't need to put him in everything. But his actions were so strange and illogical. It's kind of nice to see some background to him and Spock's kind of dispute. But what Sarek did made no sense at all. Like, why would you... Michael's basically been accepted, but then they tell you, we will only accept one of your prodigy. Either Spock or Burnham. Burnham, we've already said, will be accepted. Spock is years out from applying, so you don't know for sure that he'll get accepted. So you decide not to take the sure bet and go with Spock because he's your real son? Like, that's illogical. That's an emotional decision. Like, why? And I had been wondering before this why he seems to be more closer to her than Spock. This gives a good explanation, but then at the same time, just it doesn't work with who he is and who Vulcans are. And why Vulcans would limit that, why they would be so afraid to have two humans. And yeah, there's some of that prejudice in there. They've established that in Enterprise. And there's that Vulcan arrogance. But there's just no reason why you would make that decision. And then we have him fighting her in his mind, like literal fighting. And I think it was just like, we need some action in this. How about they fight in their mind and Sarek just is really aggressive and emotional about it? What? This is a Vulcan. You need to know if your character's traits would, allow them to do what they're doing on screen. And this doesn't work. Once again, another thing that doesn't work in this episode. So they had a good potential in there, and they ruined it just with not handling Vulcans or Sarek properly. And they kind of were on the nose about it. They were basically telling us exactly what was happening. And then we have this stuff with Lorca, and him and his friend kind of have this thing, and she kind of comes to the conclusion, yeah, you are not okay, which, I get why she's just realizing it, because she's not exposed to him every day, but why are the crew so, unaware of this? Like, they're seeing all these things that are showing us that he's not okay, that he's he's either a warmongering asshole, or he's messed up and he needs help. Like, all these scenes that are establishing that, other characters are witness to. And Burnham's thing at the end where she's thanking him and stuff, and it just doesn't work because she should have been able to observe this. And then we have the ending with the Vulcans, where they murder their hosts and some Starfleet officers and capture the Admiral, which basically they were sneaky and dishonorable. These Klingons would never have done that. Real Klingons wouldn't. I've been watching TNG, and just what they establish in that, Klingons would never do that. They would rather die. So, yeah. It's frustrating that each episode they display that they don't understand Klingons more and more, and really that could have worked for another race, but what can you do? They're clearly just kind of following popular trends and not being very nuanced about the Klingons. They're really ham-fisting it, but we'll see what happens. I don't think it's fixable at this point. Like, if they could do another season and they wanted to just straight up just be like, bam, here's your original Klingons. They look the way that they looked in TNG. We're sorry. We're not even going to explain it. I think I would accept it. Just like, okay. Like, you get it, you fucked up. Let's just pretend like that didn't happen and go forward. But that will never happen. So, yeah. I'll be doing reviews for all of them. I've committed myself to it, I think. I'm going to watch all of it. So, I might miss a few now and then, but, yeah. Yep. STD. Thanks. Subscribe. Watch. Like.